This movie was quite easily the best thing to ever come out of the Sword Art Online franchise. Hi, it's Araan, and I've been getting back into my anime phase. I've been rewatching a few of my old favorites, one of which I was going to do a video on, Full Metal Alchemist, but I filmed the video twice, and I realized that I blabber on about nothing, and it was a pretty pathetic video, so maybe once in the future I'll redo it. But moving past that, I decided to give the Sword Art Online progressive movie a chance. I'm not a diehard Sword Art Online fan. I watched it when it came out because of all the hype. Thought it was pretty cool. Like everyone else, the second half of the first season was pretty pathetically done. And then Gun Gale Online also started off pretty cool and then ended up being kind of crappy near the end. And then while Mother's Rosario was pretty touching, still, if you compare it to like a sadder anime, like literally any sadder anime out there, it's not on par at all. Alicization is pretty cool, but I didn't watch it for the story. It was really because of the animation. It was very much like a Fate thing. I feel like everyone should experience that animation at least once in their lifetime. And I believe Alicization was outsourced to Ufotable, which is why the animation for a lot of the scenes in there are pretty like top tier. And like I wish that stayed the case in the movie, but honestly, Alicization I think was way better animated than the movie, but that's besides the point. Like it was still a great movie. So anyways, where this movie succeeds, let's start. First of all, it's from Asuna's point of view. Awesome, because Kirito was such a boring protagonist. Like, he's just there to get girls, and thankfully, in this movie, you know, he doesn't get any girls. The first half of the movie was honestly pretty amazing. Second half was pretty consistent with the anime in terms of how mediocre I thought it was. I like the anime. I don't think I mentioned that, but I actually like the anime. I don't love it, but I like it. I'm not a hater, that's all I want to say. Like, I'm definitely not a Sword Art Online hater. So yeah, because it's through Asuna's point of view, it starts off with her having breakfast with her family. Her mom, who was pretty strict in the anime, is still strict here. Nothing changed, really. It's very slice of lifey. And then in the game, they also add slice of life elements, and I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, but I actually like them a lot. I'll get to that later. There's this girl in Asuna's class. She's kind of important. She's actually one of the main characters, but I forgot her real life name. I only remember her in-game name, so I'll go by Mito because that's her in-game name. But she's like this purple-haired girl that's like also a gamer and also like the top student of the class. And she's not even just a gamer. She's kind of like a pro gamer, or like a really good one at least. It's a win-win-win situation. Like, why is she not the ideal anime waifu? That was a joke. I don't believe in anime waifus, I'm sorry. But she is quite literally like the whole package. So anyways, Mito kind of convinces Asuna to try out Sword Art Online, but she's like, I don't have the nerve gear and I don't have the game. But then she gets home and she realizes that her brother has both the nerve gear and the game. So she uses her brother's game and nerve gear because her brother's on a business trip. So yeah. So she enters Sword Art Online and she's like asking an NPC to help her find her friend. Oh, her friend's name is Mizumi. So Mizumi is actually Miko, but Miko's the in-game name. You know, like Kirito's real name is like Kirigaya Kazuto. Well, Mito's real name is Mizumi. So then this creepy dude who literally reminds you of Gilles de Rais from Fate Zero. Just look at this. Like, the similarities are uncanny. Turns out this Gilles de Rais looking guy is actually Mito because Mito chose an avatar that looked badass. So Asuna and Mito are just talking, and then they realize that they can't log out again because, well, now the real SAO starts. The whole anime SAO plot kind of starts from here, where Kaiba Akihiko appears in like the sky as like a big demon dude, red floating giant thingamajig, and everyone realizes they can't log out, and then this hilarious scene freaking happens where this dude is like, apparently he was, I don't know, he might have been catfishing someone, but the person the dude met up was like, you're not a 17-year-old girl. Good job to the animators and whoever that came up with that. That was hilarious. Oh, I probably should have mentioned this, but Mito's actually a beta tester. It's not super important to the plot, but it's just gonna provide context for what they're doing next. Mito realizes that they should get going as soon as possible, so she kind of brings Asuna to like kill stuff and level up. In like the first fight, Asuna almost dies, like literally instantly. Like the first thing that happens to her when she arrives in the game is like, you know, she can't log out, and then right after she almost dies, they form a party. Now this is really important, okay? They form a party. A party, for those of you who don't know, in like a game, a party is like where you like group up together with another person to like level up together and stuff. Mito and Asuna form a party. Now this is pretty crucial to the rest of the story because like the biggest plot twist happens from this one interaction thing. The fact that they formed a party, like I'm telling you, like plot twist, jaw-dropping moment that happens later on, which we'll get to. So they're training, and then this Boruto like animation pops up. The animation is pretty inconsistent in terms that like sometimes animation is drop dead gorgeous, and then sometimes it's pretty pathetic, like the Boruto scene. And then they're fighting inside a cave, and then this Tough elemental appears, and I just want to point that out because I found it was pretty funny that Tough was spelled T-U-F-F. I know I have such shitty humor, but whatever, it was funny for me. Oh, and I want to make this abundantly clear, like so far a third of the movie-ish, I don't remember actually how much, but a lot of the movie has passed, and Kirito has not appeared even once, so like props to you writers. That wasn't sarcastic, like literally props to you writers, because I don't know if I could have handled Kirito more than the half of the movie he already appeared in, because he kind of made the movie a little bit worse. But Mito and Asuna are leveling inside a cave, and then they stumble across a group of people who are literally getting killed, like brutally murdered. Like, remember that cat guild, the Black Alley Cats, or I don't know what, but the cat guild, and then like that one girl that liked Kirito because every single girl liked Kirito in the anime, but he was like a part of a guild, and then like the girl died, and she's Sachi. Yeah, her name was Sachi. I don't even know why I remember that. Was so relevant, but Sachi dies. Well, kind of the same thing happens. Asuna's kind of traumatized. Meanwhile, Mito's like, let's get out of here as soon as possible. Like, you don't want to be those people as well. So they run away. Skip this other scene where they're still leveling. Asuna and Mito are fighting against these plants. Now there's this really dangerous plant that they're not supposed to attack because once you attack it, it like summons a bunch of other plants that attack you. So Mito and Asuna get separated and Asuna accidentally attacks that said plant that you're not supposed to attack. So then a bunch of things get summoned and Mito's about to die, Asuna's about to die, but Asuna's like really about to die, like she's really close. And the plot twist of the century happens here, people. Asuna's friend from school, I don't even know if I remember if I mentioned that she was from school, but they're friends from school, friends for like the 3 weeks that they've been playing this game, like best friends, right? Mito leaves the party. I would be freaking devastated. Asuna was freaking devastated. It's brought up later on. She is devastated that this happens. Mito freaking leaves Asuna to die. Oh my fucking gosh, that was plot twisty. Really greatly done. Like, whoa. Like, why wasn't the original anime this good? So just as Asuna's about to die by like this crazy ape beast that's like a dinosaur, so I think it's like an ape dinosaur combination, Kirito comes and saves her, and honestly I don't mind Kirito at this point, but he does come in like kind of a cheesy way. He's like a knight in shining armor, but he's like kind of flying in the sky or something. Not really flying, he's like just jumping, and it's like slow-mo jumping. So he kills the thing, and Asuna's still traumatized about how Mito left her and about how she was literally going to die because she has like some kind of trauma from seeing the people die in the cave as well. Also, she doesn't want to be inside this game because, I mean, who would want to be inside a death game? It's pretty understandable that she has literally nothing to say, but anyways, Kirito's like, do you need potions? Do you need a map? Do you need to know how to get out of here? This interaction is like honestly the best interaction I think that ever happened in the SAO franchise, like ever. There's something so pure, so innocent about this. Just the way that Kirito refuses to look at her because he kind of has a crush on her, I think, but then he doesn't really want to do anything about it. Asuna's like doesn't know what to say because she doesn't know how to thank him for just saving her life. It was so wholesome, so pure, so tender. Like, you know, they have a soundtrack, A Tender Feeling, for Sword Art Online. This moment could be summed up as a tender feeling because, oh my gosh, probably one of my favorite scenes, if not my favorite scene in the anime as a whole, or like in the series as a whole. It was something so simple but so beautifully done. And honestly, I don't even care about the relationship at all. I'm not like an SAO fan who's like, I'm not like a shipper or anything like that. I don't ship anyone like in any anime really. I don't really care much. I don't mind Asuna and Kirito together, but I mean, she is the best choice out of like all of the other people who have a crush on Kirito, but you know, I don't care if they ended up together or not. That's what I mean to say. But this scene, if the rest of the movies have scenes like this that develop the relationship, then 100% I ship them together. 100%. Now she's on her own because she doesn't actually tell Mito that she's still alive because Mito thinks she's dead and she doesn't, well, I mean, I guess she doesn't know where Mito is. So she's leveling on her own. She levels inside a cave. She's completely exhausted. She passes out. Kirito brings her out of the cave and like a field, and then they kind of have a little discussion. So then in the essence of staying true to the anime, they go to like that Coliseum or like that broken Coliseum or whatever, that mini gathering of like the raid thing, the raid group with like that blue-haired dude who's like the leader to kill the first floor boss to bring hope to the players of the game because everyone's still depressed and everyone thinks they're gonna lose because so far around 2,000 people have died and there's been absolutely no progress. So to bring hope to them, they want to kill the boss. Her and Kirito like meet up there. They decide to form a party to be part of the raid, a raid consisting of many parties. Asuna sees Mito at the gathering because Mito's part of like the frontline people, but she doesn't say anything. Once again, like staying true to the anime, Asuna and Kirito eat bread, and then Kirito introduces Asuna to putting cream on her bread, and then Asuna has like an epiphany of some sorts. Like she's completely struck by how delicious it tastes, and it was like really random, but like whatever. I mean, enjoy bread, whatever, good for you. Kirito mentions how he has like a house with a bath, and Asuna's like, take me to your house, and she takes a bath, and honestly, I guess because she hasn't bathed in like forever. In 4 weeks, I think, yeah, I think it's been around a month at this point, and I'm totally fine with the slice of life aspects. There's no romance behind it at all, coupled with the adventure and with the fantasy and the action, totally fine. Keep them apart for as long as you can because I want to see what the game is about, not what the romance is about. We're getting to the boss fight, so just to summarize, Mito still doesn't know that Asuna's alive, and Asuna still hasn't confronted Mito, which I guess is the exact same thing as Mito not knowing that she's alive. But they're walking to the boss floor. They get to the boss floor. Same thing happens as in the anime. You know, they have like a fight with that big kobold giant dude. Blue-haired guy gets obliterated by the kobold dude, and Mito's about to die. Well, not really die. She's about to get hit, and then Asuna saves her. And then because Asuna has like a signature fighting style, and Mito realizes that Asuna's alive. And then they have this moment where like they reconnect, which I'm totally fine with. But like during a boss battle, where also, by the way, I think almost everyone else is paralyzed because of this boss's new weapon that wasn't part of the beta test. Like everyone is paralyzed, and the fact that Asuna and Mito are having like this little reunion, I mean, it was kind of out of place because everyone else could pretty easily die at this point, and you're just like talking to someone, talking about how you forgive them or whatever. I don't know, I just found it a little weird. At this point, all the positives of the movie completely outweigh the negatives, so I could let that slide. They beat the boss. Well, Kirito beats the boss along with Asuna and Mito's help, but he gets like the final strike so that he could get his iconic black cloak. Look, I don't have a black cloak, but I have a black sweater, a black hoodie, so yeah. I don't know what that was. But anyways, yeah, he kills the boss. And then this funny scene happens, which I don't remember if it took place in the actual anime, but I always wondered how he got the name of Beater. I mean, it might have been the exact same in the anime, but I don't remember it at all. For all of y'all who didn't know how Beater came to be, well, beta tester plus cheater, you know, beta, B-E-T, and then cheater, Beater. Point is, it's a combination between beta tester and cheater, and it works somehow, mixes, and that's how Beater was born. So he's climbing to the second floor, and he's like, whoever wants to join me, but be ready to die. And no one else joins him except for Asuna, because she wants to follow his path. So romantic. I hate you for doing this. Why did you have to stick them together? Like, it was such a great movie until Kirito popped up. And even when he did pop up, the first scene where he popped up was absolutely amazing. Like, top tier of, like, any storytelling thing ever. Like, I freaking loved it. It was awkward, it was tender, it was wholesome, loved everything about it. But the fact that this insinuates that they're going to be together in the second movie really puts, like, a dent in the whole thing. I do feel like the second movie is going to revolve a lot more around romance, and I really don't want that, especially since the adventure aspect and the slice of life and the action and everything between Mito and Asuna's adventure before Mito betrayed Asuna was so freaking fun. I feel like the fact that they're going to throw that away is going to be pretty boring, and I'm not going to like the second as much as the first, but who knows? I mean, I didn't even want to watch the first movie. I just did because I had nothing else to watch. And I was very pleasantly surprised. Like, if this was the anime, it would have been so much better, and if the rest of the movies are consistently this good, I will watch all of them, and I will probably like them, because this was a pretty great movie. But anyways, at the very, very, very end, the final scene, Argo the rat shows up, and ooh, that name is fitting. I absolutely hate her. She does nothing but, like, munch off of other people. No, that's not the expression. She does nothing but, like, gain on the successes of other people. You know how she, like, writes, like, a guide for other people, which, I mean, it's cool that she's doing that. She's helping other people, but she's just so annoying otherwise. I don't know. I remember her character a little bit from the anime, and she was pretty boring and annoying, and I just want her to get off screen. So the fact that they reminded me that she even exists, I'm like, why did you do that? Like, why'd you have to ruin it? Final thoughts, although the animation was pretty inconsistent, there were some, like, really cool moments, really pathetic moments that, like, artistically, I think that it was still pretty nice. It was pretty consistent with, like, the first season of Sword Art Online, not the last one, Alicization, which was, like, top tier. Like, people say Fate Zero's top tier, which it is. People say Demon Slayer's top tier, which it is. People don't say that the third season of Sword Art Online is top tier, which it is. And they should, because it really is top tier. The music, it's made by the same composer. I don't remember her name, I'm sorry, but I mean, I'll comment her name, or I'll look it up right now, actually. I feel like it's important to address that the composer's the same, because she's absolutely brilliant. And, ooh, they play Luminous Sword, but like a remix version, and I think Swordline again, and oh, beautiful. Like, the nostalgia factor was there all the way, but it was just nostalgia. But whereas I rewatched Full Metal Alchemist and it was worse than I remember, this is kind of like as if I rewatched Sword Art Online, but it was so much better than I remember, and that's the best feeling ever. Yuki Kajiura, that's her name. Yuki Kajiura, ooh, chef's kiss, phenomenal. The whole sound, not the sound, what's it called? The whole score, masterfully composed. It was also very much an adventure movie, aside from, like, the second half, but I mean, it was still kind of adventure-y, I guess. It's just that I knew it was gonna happen because it was very in line with the anime. They do go to new places, right? Ooh, also, another thing that I loved about the movie is that in the first half, like, when Mito and Asuna are together, when they're leveling, they level in a lot of different areas, whereas in the anime, they, like, jump from floor to floor. They don't spend enough time exploring any floor, so really all you see is, like, one, like, landscape, I guess, from a specific floor. This movie, because they're always leveling in different spaces, you're able to see, like, what the whole floor looks like. Even though the geographical changes aren't, like, extreme or anything, it was still so refreshing to see that there are actually places on the same floor that look different, so props to you for doing that. Oh, so much untapped potential, but I mean, I have high hopes at this point. High hopes that they won't ruin it. Please don't ruin it. Yeah, the first half was significantly better than the second. Like, the first half, honestly, was like a 9 or like a 10 on 10. And then the second half was more like a 7-ish. So I guess it evens out as like an 8. I think that's a pretty solid rating, especially for Sword Art Online. I wouldn't rate the anime an 8. So yeah, the first half of the movie was so different. It was so refreshing. Kirito wasn't there, and the relationship between Mito and Asuna was, I mean, it was like a fun friendship kind of thing. It was fun to watch. It was fun to see that develop. Second half, when Kirito arrives, I mean, it's not much of a problem because not a lot of romance happened yet. And I feel like most of the negative connotations I have with the second half is me knowing that the romance will take off, and if it does take off, then it's gonna ruin the movie, or like the second movie, I guess, at this point. So I just really hope that they keep romance at like very, very, very bare minimum for now, so that it's able to live up to the first movie, which I really, 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 really liked. So if you're an SAO hater, I definitely recommend you check out this movie. There is no time skips or anything. I should also talk about that. There are no time skips in the movie, or there are time skips, but there are no like floor skips where like one day they're on floor number 10 and the next day they're on like floor 70 or something, because it feels like that happened like quite a few times, or not that drastic, but they did jump floors quite a few times. But that doesn't happen at all in the movie. So if you're not a fan of the anime, I definitely recommend that you check this out. There are no 5 girls jumping on Kirito at all times. Like, he's single, so good for that. There's no romance, there's a lot of adventure, there's enough action, there's a slice of life element that's really fun. The little romance, which isn't even totally romance, because it's not like Kirito had feelings for her, or he might have had feelings. I mean, he might have had like a crush on her, but she didn't have any feelings towards him at all when he saved her from the goblin thing, or not the goblin, when he saved her from the T-Rex. So anyways, if you're an SAO anime hater, I definitely recommend you check this out. It is super, super, super fun. So for anyone who's debating on whether or not to see this movie because they've watched the anime and they've kind of been disappointed by it, I definitely recommend that you watch this movie. You'll be pleasantly surprised, very pleasantly surprised. Bye!